In the world of Dandadan, things like paranormal spirits and human-probing cloned aliens are an average Tuesday for the protagonists Okarun and Momo Ayase. On every adventure the teenagers find themselves on, there seems to be some underlying supernatural threat around every corner. However, there is one aspect of the occult that Dandadan has yet to explore. One thing that almost always accompanies mystical beings like aliens or evil spirits is the dark side of humanity. More specifically, the darkness that spreads through groups like secret societies and shadow conspiracies. While on the surface, it would appear Yukinobu Tatsu has restricted the topic of the series to show only the evil, and sometimes even good, of the paranormal or alien encounters the characters have. But with the constant reoccurrence of one very unique symbol, along with a lot of the context the series has built up that I'm gonna lay out for you right now, I think you'll see we might be onto something here. It's possible the reason Dandadan has not yet gone into deep things like secret societies is because Yukinobu Tatsu has something big coming. A bomb that he plans to drop that could potentially explode in this most recent saga of Dandadan. And one that even ties in another one of the most mysterious plot-related time bombs in the series, Count Saint Germain. Now, obviously, it's tough to say a small drawing says much, which is why I want to cover a lot of the context as to why this symbol matters so much, before directly covering the symbol and potential conspiracy theory itself. Because without the foundation, this whole video kind of just sounds like one madman shouting at the clouds. So let's start back up at the beginning. Hey guys, real quick, if you want to support the channel, make sure you go down to gamersubs.gg/noop and get 10% off your nootropics and energy supplement fix, and we'll get back to the video. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the protagonists of Dandadan are constantly running into supernatural shenanigans, sometimes without even trying. The anatomical models Hana and Taro are perfect examples of random anomalies that anyone could have run into. It just happened to be Momo and Okarun for story's sake. Just being able to casually see yokai was enough to instantly swipe Ira Shiratori into the crazy world with acrobatic Silky, and Gigi's life was almost ruined by a cult-like family that had dug their talons into the village Gigi lived in, all for the sake of some giant cryptid worm and the subterranean creature masquerading as the Kito family's head matriarch. Them, as well as all the other gang members like Rin Sawaki, Unjizuma, and especially now in the most current arc, Kokiyuki Shiro and Queen Sensei, all of these formerly ordinary people have encountered the supernatural in one way or another, either through their own experiences or people they knew rubbing off on them. We also know of multiple aliens that wear human flesh, such as Serpoans and friendly species like Peeny Weenie and Chikorita. What I'm trying to say is whether alien or yokai, the existence of the supernatural is not something just unique to the people we follow in the story, which is obvious just on the merit of Seiko Ayase existing, Momo's grandmother that has been ingrained into this paranormal world for decades at the very least, and remains to this day one of the most knowledgeable characters when it comes to yokai and spiritual objects. For an older adult whose age is quite literally impossible to decipher, her level of experience tells of a woman that may have been in similar struggles to her own granddaughter. Seiko seems poised and indomitable now, but more than likely at some point, Seiko would have needed to be indoctrinated into this world just as harshly as our protagonist would have. And we could sit here for hours speculating about the origins of Seiko and her own first impressions of the spiritual world, but I think the more important point that I'm trying to make here is just how common encountering the insane can be in this world. It's not so common that everyone is aware of aliens and yokais existing, as even Seiko, albeit hilariously and almost unbelievably, still denies aliens' existences despite meeting multiple at this point, but just common enough for there to be a group of high schoolers all sharing spiritual experiences that can communicate and work together. And if a group of almost 10 teenagers can emerge out of mutual trauma just in one school campus, what says larger groups of people all across the world haven't already done the same? If we are to assume Okarun is correct, and that underneath the surface of everyday life, an endless war wages between aliens and yokai, not like necessarily your ordinary war, but Okarun describes it as aliens would invade and crush Earth if they wanted to, which we almost even watch occur in Space Globalist arc, yet yokai like Reiko Kashima will stand in the aliens' way of the entire invasion. which proves Okarun's theory and reinforces that this probably isn't the only time this has occurred throughout all of history, let alone the only place it may have happened, especially if Okarun could have came to this conclusion in less than a year of paranormal experiences. Which is why I bring up Seiko, because based on her career of being a famous exorcist, at least among actual occult circles, it's implied there's a network of spiritualists that not only recommend Seiko jobs, as we see here on a high-profile yokai hunt during the Space Globalist arc, but also share and spread information between one another. We're also told from Manjiro, the local shaman of Gigi's village, of the multiple failures and deaths of the previous mediums and exorcists before the Ayase family is sent to investigate Gigi's village. We have yet to encounter anything similar on the alien side of things. No famous UFO, UAP investigator that turns out to be some real experienced alien hunter or really anything close to the sort. But does that really mean they don't exist? Again, if a single extensive network of priests and exorcists can establish itself in Japan, I have to assume that there are other networks of the sort in other countries, and what stops there not being any kind of alien enthusiasts meeting together? Not to beat a dead horse, but again, Momo and Okarun run into the Serpoans and Turbo Granny on their first try doing a paranormal hunt. So you're expecting me to believe there aren't enough alien fanatics in the entire world that have also survived encounters and lived to meet one other enthusiast? Let alone that now that most of these manga and stories take place in current day, they have the internet. Even in our actual world, there were forums and chat logs of extensive alien research and spirit ritual/summonings before the internet even was a mainstream thing. But this whole video isn't some pretentious point to say, well, obviously, these secret societies exist by process of elimination, 8 billion people exist in the world, case closed. And I promise we're getting to the point soon, but there are two more people that I need to bring up for consideration. Seiko Ayase's two friends that she meets up with to consult for information on curing Momo's miniature curse from the fairy tale card. Their names, Kashimoto and Payase, and they're two brand new characters that are introduced in the Kozuka Knife Saga. And for once, two adults are heavily involved in the existence of the paranormal other than Seiko. Kashimoto and Payase are cursed object collectors, and it's unknown how or where Seiko Ayase met these two, but it is clear they are trusted allies of hers, as even when the going got tough and the Jiangshi and Iron Bull attacked Seiko, Payase and Kashimoto both fought alongside her despite having every possibility to escape. They also revealed exceptional spirit abilities to do so, which show the two of them are more than just your average spirit medium like Manjiro. Payase and Kashimoto are interesting, like Seiko, because they are extremely well versed in the occult and even capable of wielding and manipulating the cursed objects they've collected to their benefit. Their vast amount of knowledge makes them interesting characters, which also shrouds a layer of mystery over them. But for the purposes of this video, they do a great job proving the existence of outside forces foreign to the characters we know that potentially are even more capable than our teenage protagonists. It also throws some merit behind the parallel of alien investigators existing. In fact, thanks to Payase and Kashimoto, I can almost guarantee it. Because a lot of you guys may have been screaming from behind your screens at this point that there is technically at least one example of a somewhat alien investigator in Dandadan, and I'd probably agree with you. First introduced alongside the Cur as a mysterious ally, later formally brought into our protagonist's orbit through his alter ego Mr. Sanjome, Count Saint Germain is a self-described collector of the paranormal that, despite appearing human, seems to transcend existence and appear mostly as an enigma. He steps onto the scene from the renowned gates of hell, and both the Serpoans and even Turbo Granny are more than familiar with his presence. Clearly, someone who has managed to make a reputation for themselves not across all different types of worlds, but all different types of eras. Similarly to Seiko as well, the Count does not have the aged appearance to truly reveal just how far and wide their history probably does reach. The Count has millions of mysteries to crack open, but just to remain in focus, his original costume and appearance features an upside-down triangle symbol, which is present on Count Saint Germain's coat collar. This can easily be written off as eccentric fashion sense, and you could easily miss this logo, just like a lot of people did when the exact same symbol appeared on the front of Ludris's chest. The supposedly universally famous alien who was able to create nanotechnology and is considered around the galaxy as one of the greatest wonders of the universe because of how rare an encounter with Ludris can be. Yet for how legendary and almost mythological Ludris is, something all too not rare is apparently the symbol he has on his torso. And if this were just Ludris and Germain's symbol, I would theorize about them maybe being connected in some way, shape, or form. With Count Saint Germain being able to change his appearance, perhaps this logo is just that dead giveaway. But allow me one more side tangent. Remember empty space? The pocket dimensional void that aliens use to trap people or spirits with high energy inside of them to separate them from the physical realm? When we first see empty space when facing the Flatwoods monster, the perceptive Okarun makes another great assumption, wondering that if there is some kind of weird connection between alien technology and spiritual powers. And while this has never been directly explored, there are multiple consistencies between yokai and aliens, sometimes the two being almost indistinguishable from one another, and makes you go, when you consider Ludris and Count Saint Germain aren't the only people we've seen have this eye logo. Actually, our friends Payase and Kashimoto are both depicted sporting this mysterious eye when meeting up with Seiko, potentially hinting at this organization's claws digging into both aspects of alien and yokai. It's also interesting to pay attention to the fact Germain and Ludris's triangles are upside down, while Kashimoto's and Payase's are directed upwards. Does this symbolize two different factions of one organization? Two separate planes that are on equal sides? Does it not matter at all and just depends on what looks better on the clothes? Or does it truly symbolize two sides of a war? One army with an upside triangle, the other with a downside. Realistically, right now, we have next to no idea what this mysterious symbol could mean other than speculation. But looking at real-world occult, this logo does seem to resemble the Eye of Providence, also known as the All-Seeing Eye, and is commonly depicted as the main symbol of the Illuminati, and is seen as an object of guidance or surveillance over the workers of mankind. The Illuminati, or whatever secret shadow cabal you subscribe to, often use this symbol to hide in plain sight and spread messages to others who are in the know, while those who aren't in the know are none the wiser. With the fact of this logo showing up multiple times across varying characters in the series, it's clear this symbol means something, and with its connection to Count Saint Germain, who appears as a threat to not just Serpoans, but to Turbo Granny as well. Whatever this imagery does mean, it could become a saving grace of an actually great team of adults fighting against evil, or it could spell absolute doom for the characters of Dandadan, revealing a hidden group of powerful spirit wielders and alien conquerors who have been planning world domination over the course of history, all in search of the one and all-powerful Dandadan. You know, whatever that actually may be. At this point, it's truly impossible to tell. But I make this video as a warning to all who have made it this far. Keep an eye out for the eye. I have a feeling it's more than just a coincidence, even though it very well could just be. But if we truly do keep seeing more and more of it, let's just all keep these thoughts in the back of our mind. If this does turn out to be some grand conspiracy that Yukinobu has been laying out over the course of many chapters, you'll all know to come back to this video and comment "I told you so." But until then, hit that like button guys, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want more consistent Dandadan content. You can count on me to bring that to you. I genuinely appreciate all of you guys watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, peace.